Go with it.
What is going on, my friends? Welcome to the Josh and Ashlee Show. If you're a small business owner, an entrepreneurial family, you are in the right place. I'm joined by my high school sweetheart, Ashlee. How you doing over there, my love?
I am doing wonderful. But it could change any minute. I'm a woman and I'm an entrepreneur wife. So
it's been a weird few days.
Name the minute and I'll tell you if it's going good or not.
I heard somewhere, actually, Rick Wallace was sharing with me, there's 3 things that you can't change about life. I'm going to have to look it up. Let me see if I can remember. Number 1 is pain. The second thing is uncertainty. And the third thing is the constant need to work. What do you think about that? Is that true, or is that just a negative way to view the world?
The constant need to work?
Yes.
That's the one I question probably the most is I don't, I actually just think I need a nap. But I agree with those other things. I mean, I don't love uncertainty though. Are you saying like we strive for that or?
No. I don't know. I mean, we believe that God made us, that there's actually a creator, that every watch has a watchmaker. We're going to talk about some epic stuff in the show, by the way, but I believe everything God made, he made to grow and expand. Like that's the highest and best use of stuff that's been made, including humans. We want to grow and expand, and you can't grow without pain. I don't think you can grow without uncertainty, or else it wouldn't be growth. Like if there's no pain to expand, then is it even growth? This is very deep. I don't know. It's philosophical, but like the law of advancement, I do some teaching sometimes on that, right?
Yep.
Like for a muscle to get stronger, it has to first get weaker, right?
True.
For a tree to become a tree, a seed has to go down in the ground. For your bank account to go up, it has to first go down. There's like pain, there's uncertainty. And small business owners, maybe you can relate because you are one. We want to have the 72-point, roadmap to like success. But usually the way it actually is you have like the next step. What's so funny?
Oh my goodness. No, I didn't know you were going to go. Just keep on going. I was just thinking about what happened at the gym today.
Tell
because
us.
I took this bar class and we're working on like the little tiny muscles. And it's interesting because little things sometimes hurt you for very long days. But there's this one lady that I always like to go next to, and she works really hard, but she moans really loud. And so I feel like we're like compassion buddies. Like after we do like a long plank, she'll go, oh, and I'm just like, girl, I feel you. And so her and I are working out our muscles together, but I like going next to her because then I was just giggling about what happened at the gym today because I didn't see her, so I couldn't go next to her today.
She was just living in the law of advancement.
She came in a little bit late, and so she just came in a little late, but she gets me. But yeah, we keep going, do the eloquent things. I'm just going to sit here and laugh at my own.
Well, basically, long story short, it's hard to grow and expand, right? And we're our own biggest enemy. We're our own biggest bottleneck. I know that I am. I know most people are. If you don't think you are, you're just like not seeing it yet, but you'll get there. I want to talk right out of the gate about Dunning-Kruger effect. Dunning-Kruger effect is amazing. I have a short video clip. I'm going to have Maverick back there play. But before we do that, Dunning-Kruger is this idea that people with a high IQ tend to underestimate their abilities, and people with a low IQ tend to overestimate their abilities. We all have people we know like this, right? You're at the family picnic and you got, Uncle Larry over there. He's like, oh, he thinks he knows everything, but he's like the dumbest guy. But, people that don't have a high level of intelligence aren't aware that they're not smart. And really, it's not just about smartness. What I noticed with small business owners is that the chronic overthinkers, the people that procrastinate or get anxiety when planning their business, a lot of times they are really, really smart. And maybe that's why you're stuck or going slower than you need to, is because you're a chronic overthinker. Is it just me? Do you overthink? Do you struggle with that? But I think it's funny because the most talented people move the slowest in a lot of cases because they're painfully aware of their own inadequacies. Is that you? I don't know, but let's play this clip, Maverick, if you have it ready. It's awesome. Let's see what we got.
I'm Tyler. I'm 21. I'm a high school graduate, and I work in the Marine Corps.
Maria, I'm 30 years old. I have my PhD in cancer biology, and I work in a biotech industry. Grad school, I went to University of South Carolina, and undergrad, I went to University of Florida. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, me, I don't know. PhD, cancer biology scientist. I work in a biotech company. We make COVID-19 testing kits, stuff like that. And then it has nothing to do with your background. I don't think you really have the highest EQ out of all of us. Tyler, he ranked last for me personally because the way he carries himself. He was ranking intelligence based on his point of view and not taking in other people's point of views and compiling results, but really just came down to his body language, his demeanor, the way he carried himself, the way he acted towards the group.
Number 1 is Raymond. Number 2 would be Kaylee. Number 3 will be Tyler. And number 4 would be Shada. Number 5 is Sean. And number 6 is Maria.
Do you understand what just happened? Have you seen that before?
No, I haven't seen it, and I can't really see it very well.
Satisfying to me.
I can't really see exactly.
Okay,
I think I might need some glasses.
I'll break it down for you. Basically, that was a short. I've seen the full length version of that video. Maybe you've seen it. It's been out there floating around the internet for a while. But that super cocky, arrogant girl who's talking, she's like, "Yeah, I'm a PhD. I'm in biomedicine," and she thinks she's this amazing thing. And that's probably why the COVID testing kits didn't work, is because she was working on them. But anyway,
wow,
so she was tasked with ranking that group of people. They're a bunch of strangers in order of intelligence. So they all just talked and got to know each other. She didn't like Tyler because he looked like a country boy. He was simple, soft-spoken. He was, he ended up being like 3 people ahead of her in terms of IQ.
Okay, because that's what I couldn't see.
She rated herself as first. She was actually dead last. And that is like the embodiment of Dunning-Kruger. It's literally what it is. And this girl thinks that she's one thing and is not even close. And a lot of people that are really talented, or they're smart, or there's a lot of potential in their business, they think that they're lower than they are. People like her, because she's an idiot, thinks that she's further ahead than she is. And so you see this like everywhere, and it messes up her businesses. So what do you think about that?
That is fascinating. They took IQ tests because I couldn't see from this far away.
Well, she was talking about EQ in that short clip. It was about IQ or intelligence in general. But EQ, emotional quotient, has to do with something else. But it still it underlines the point of what I mean. Maverick and Will, can you hear me back there, Mav? Loud and clear. So, okay, let me ask you, have you met someone that thinks they're way more talented than they actually are? Or have you met someone that has massive potential, but they have like really low self-esteem, or they think they're dumber than they actually are? I don't know. You're 15, so what do you think? Yeah, he was 12, by the way. Yeah. Oh, Rebecca says she can't hear you, Maverick. So I don't know if there's something just on Facebook. I see her say that. But what Maverick was saying was that young kids in his generation, he doesn't know if it's Dunning-Kruger, but he said they're not maximizing their potential because they used to do really hard things and epic things. And now you're like 32 years old eating Hot Pockets in your parents' basement. At least that's the running joke on the internet. There's less responsibility taken by adults now than like kids used to have. And there's this story, I think his name was something Graham. He's a 12-year-old decorated Navy gunship soldier. And he was actually 12 when he snuck into the military, and he was like 13, 14 years old. He went to combat a bunch of times. He had like a Purple Heart or something. They ended up taking his award away because he had lied about his age. And then like 40 years later gave it back to him. And then the other example he gave was Laura Decker, who is a 14-year-old that circumnavigated the earth on a sailboat alone. And look, I'm not saying your kid needs to go circumnavigate the earth, but it is interesting kind of where culture's at right now, right?
Yeah.
And the expectations placed on, I don't know, ourselves, our kids. I think the parents of kids, the parents are overwhelmed and paralyzed running a company, doing these things. Half the people that we deal with secretly, they really hate their company. They didn't like their boss. They didn't like their job. They're doing their company, but they fantasize about selling or exiting their company 5 times a year. Not everybody.
Or 5 times
but
a
it's
day.
common.
Maybe 5 times a day.
It's common. And I don't know, people are just stressed out. And what do you have to say about the kid potential and all this stuff?
Ooh, I definitely think kids have a lot more potential than society. Like, I think there's this thing that people think that just because you're older means that you're smarter or wiser. Now, I do think you gain a level of maturity and you go through stuff, so you have a different look on things, but I think we can learn a lot, especially from this youth right now. It's funny because I just bought Maverick some Red Cross courses that I want him to go through just so that he is Red Cross certified and all these things. And it's so funny because I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, I bought Maverick all these courses. And Maverick's babysat people before. And, he watches the kids when we go out on date night and stuff. And my mom laughed and she said, Maverick could run a country. Like, he could be teaching the babysitting course of how to, and it's so funny to see him go through this. And he was just laughing at some of the things. But I think there's a lot of things that we don't give kids enough credit for.
We don't give kids the opportunity
Yes.
to do hard things so they can build their own confidence in themselves. Like, if you're a helicopter bubble parent where everything's sanitized, everything's safe, you let your kids stay over there, you don't let them explore and do things and even do difficult things that frustrate them. It's horrible for the kid, because in the year like 1811, when you're 12, you're the man of the house. You have the rifle and dad rides his horse to town and maybe he's gone for 3 weeks and you have to deal with the stuff, right? And the grizzly bear tries to eat your chickens or something and you're 12, but you're the man. That's it. That's the way it is. The word teenager is actually a modern construct. Some of the research I've done on the etymology of the word teenager is that it's only about 100 years old. It wasn't a thing before, and not that it shouldn't be. And yes, there's reasons the life expectancy was 42 in the 1800s, right? So you had to grow up faster so you could live quicker. So not all of that's good, but generally I think that's missing from today's youth.
I remember just this weekend, Finley was like, I need a lemonade stand. I can't remember what she wanted to get money for, but she wanted to get money and she wanted to make a lemonade stand. She's always wanted to make a lemonade stand, but it was freezing out this weekend, which we'll talk about Texas bipolar weather here. It's going to be 87 degrees, but I think it was 46 this weekend. And she wanted to make this lemonade stand. And my husband was like, well, there's we can't let you go outside by yourself, stranger danger, all these things, which I have a point about stranger danger. Someone made a very good point on TikTok. Way to go, TikTok lady, about stranger danger. And I said, let's just let it play out. Josh goes, oh, we got to go do stuff. Because that's the hard part about having your kids start businesses is sometimes you have to do stuff, especially when they're 7 years old. And I was like, let her figure out the process. Let her practice and do all these things. And by the end of the day, Finley was not ready to do lemonade stands. And she came to that conclusion herself because her brothers told her, this lemonade is disgusting. This orangeade or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they
gave it to me. I was like, this is amazing. Good job, honey. But I was scared to drink it. I said, when does being a good parent and supporting your kids cross into the danger zone? Because I'm like, what did you mix in this, honey? I'm looking, there's 2 half melted ice cubes and she's like, sugar and oranges and God knows what went in there, but they told her the truth.
And just so you know, when we have a lemonade stand, we will be a fine-tuned machine and she will be totally, it will be up to standards. It'll be health. Yeah, but we were letting her test it out. And I think that's the thing too, is we're so worried about hurting people's feelings. We don't let them test it out and fail and edit and pivot and try to figure out, this is all learning. When we fail, we learn. When we're trying to figure out, do we want to do gymnastics, which it will always be gymnastics, or do we want to do ballet? We sometimes is it, I don't know what the word pigeonhole actually means, but when we I know what it means, but I don't know where it comes from. But when we pigeonhole kids and we're then we get mad. I used to be a cheer coach and I remember people would breed their kids, especially in Texas, they breed them to be cheerleaders forever. And then they get so burnt out that they're like, screw this. I don't want to do this anymore. And then that's when teenagers go off the rails or whatever, because we're so hardcore instead of just trying things out and letting them things fail.
I mean, are you saying that the parents were pushing their kids to do something the kid didn't want to do? And that's bad? Or are you saying, because it's good to push them, right? Or
I think
obviously
it's,
it
no,
can
no.
be too much though.
Okay. Yes. I guess I kind of flipped on the script there, but I think we should push kids things. But I think we should, if we decide that we're going to do gymnastics, then we stick with gymnastics until we're all done. Like we reassess. You keep reassessing. You
But
push
you
them.
complete your commitment.
Yeah, you
first.
complete your commitment. But it's also great to try out things and to like try out things. I mean, especially when they're kids. Your kids should try out a business. Your kids should try these things. They learn so many good things from trying out different things. Now, there's people that try out too many things. They're in gymnastics and dance and t-ball and this and that and all the things. I think can be overwhelm and overload. So I don't think you should just get, but letting kids fail and try things and do hard things and keep commitments, it's huge.
Want to hear something interesting? I'm going to pivot here for a second. I was preparing a presentation that I'm giving in Las Vegas in a couple weeks, or is it less than it? It's about 2 weeks. And I did some research. So in 2016, there's a stat that came out that 1,700 people per day become millionaires in the United States. And I've used that stat for years because it's like amazing. I'm like, wow, 1,700 people a day. It's crazy. But it turns out that's a really old, outdated stat. A newer, more recent one that I found out this weekend was it's over 6,800 people per day. This was in 2021 because there's about 2.5 million people became millionaires. Like 80+% of them are first generation, meaning they did not inherit it. But anyway, I think that's fascinating. But there's also like a recession coming. The economics are weird. We have trains falling off the tracks everywhere. Things are exploding, chicken plants. There's some really weird, creepy things happening economically. I have kind of my pulse on home service because that's the industry I came out of. And people are messaging me, and depending on where you are in the country, like call volume's a little lower, people are nervous, things are getting weird. And then as all this is happening, okay, so we have like the best time in human history to like build wealth or be financially free with business, with the internet and all the opportunities. That's true. But then we have like weird stuff happening at the same time. Did you guys hear, and Ashlee, did you hear that the richest man in the world, at least right now, it changes all the time, is not Elon Musk anymore. It's not Jeff Bezos. It's this guy named Bernard Arnault. And I believe it's pronounced Arnault, but it's spelled like Arnault. I think he's a French guy, but he owns a high-end luxury brands company. You can Google them. They own Gucci. They own
Louis
Christian
Vuitton.
Dior. They own Louis Vuitton. They own Tiffany's. They just bought Tiffany's a few years back for $15 billion.
Wait, he owns Gucci too? I thought Gucci was owned by somebody else, but that's interesting.
I think
That's very
they
interesting.
do, but
It doesn't matter. He
but
owns
what's
high
interesting
luxury.
is like these companies sell to the top 1% of people. That's like who it's for, or people that have a credit card and want to buy a bag and max it out. But it's ultra luxury goods. And then you shared an article with me from
Neiman Marcus.
Neiman Marcus that their CEO announced that they're not going to discount anything anymore. They're focused entirely on the 1%, high end. They used to try to appeal to kind of this upper middle class people too, so they could go to Neiman Marcus and feel fancy and stuff, but they're not doing that anymore. And they used a phrase. What was the phrase they used?
Aspirational luxury.
Aspirational luxury. They're not focusing on that anymore. So what does that have to do with you? It potentially has everything to do with you. I want to talk about that for a few minutes. First of all, luxury brands, the whole debate between that's ridiculous. Why would you spend that much on stuff? But then just the shift economically, because the recession that we're already in, even though the government won't admit it, it's going to get worse. But it doesn't affect super affluent people the same way as it does everybody else. I mean, I remember when we were dating, Ash, I could take you on a date, fill up my truck with gas for $20. We could go see a movie, eat Taco Bell, and get gas for $20. Like, that's what it costs.
Big spender.
So like when gas went up back then, like that disrupted my life. Now I don't look at the gas price. I just don't. I don't pay attention to it because it doesn't matter. I'm getting gas either way. But it's not just gas, it's all the prices of food and everything. So
I want
what are you
everybody
thinking?
that has called me a gold digger in the past to repeat that my husband used to take me out on a date for $20, everybody. I married a man that used to take me on $20 dates, and I actually love his face more than I've ever loved him, because not because he takes me on way more expensive dates now, but just trauma bonding. We've done a lot of trauma
What are
bonding.
your thoughts on all
my,
this stuff?
my thoughts about luxury brands is I just like did a quick Google search, and it's also more billionaires were made during the pandemic, and everybody thought, oh, everything's crashing to the ground. And now a billionaire was made like every single day during the
Well, not to
pandemic.
mention, I believe it was Pfizer made $100 billion because of COVID. Really?
Really?
That's a different topic. Keep
That's
going.
a totally different topic. But aspirational luxuries, I mean, in all fairness, $1 million, we're making 6,000 millionaires a day,
Per
but
day.
$1 million isn't worth the same amount as it was even 10 years ago.
Correct. Yep, that's true.
Even probably a year, let's just be honest, a year ago, $1 million is a lot different.
Well, have you ever heard of the Weimar Republic? We've
No.
never talked about it. Do you know
No,
what that is?
I have no idea what that is.
They had hyperinflation, which is how Hitler rose to power, right? People had wheelbarrows full of cash because of hyperinflation back then to buy a loaf of bread. People would trade the titles to their house for like groceries for a month. Not that I think that that's going to happen. There's reasons why, with the dollar being the reserve currency, but none of us really know. I mean, it's definitely weird. But anyway, you're right. The value of the dollar is completely different. It's lost like 98% of its value since the first Federal Reserve notes in 1913 or something.
I think one time you were speaking in San Diego, and you were speaking at this event center, and overlooking it was this entire marina. And you made a great point, because everybody was talking about like, oh, there's not enough customers out there. And my husband was like, look around. All these people own yachts. And that's like extra fun money. And so I think sometimes people look at their situation and they might not know 10 billionaires or 6,000 millionaires. And so they think that their customer is them, and their customer is not them. And same thing with...
Yeah, that's true. There's millions of millionaires. And by the way, millionaire just means net worth. Doesn't mean they have liquid cash in their checking account. But there's tons of them. I think it's just under 9% of everyone in the United States is a millionaire. Did you know that? 9% have a 7-figure or higher net worth, which isn't a giant number, but it kind of is. Like there's success is everywhere. Truly, it really is. But like if you grow up poor, or you grow up with where money's a struggle, it feels like that's what the world is. The truth is that's just what your paradigm was, and you got to open your eyes. And there's oh my God,
So
there's too much opportunity. Actually,
we don't really have this on the list, but do you want to fight about the designer purse? Are you going to take one?
Well, I want to talk about what business owners should do to pivot towards marketing to the affluent. Do it now. Do it right now. And we can talk about that. There's lots of things you can do, because when things slow down and there's a squeeze, look, not everything's going to fall apart, but consumer spending's already changing. Consumer debt's at an all-time high. Things are weird with real estate. Interest rates are really high. We looked up the mortgage rates this weekend.
10.
And that was something else. I think it was like about 7% or something for a 30-year mortgage.
It was 7.
I didn't like triple check it, but it's insane. So weird stuff's happening. So the Bible says a wise man sees danger ahead and hideth himself. A fool does nothing and suffers for it. I don't want you to suffer for it. I think people are going to get rich because of this, because recessions don't create failures. They expose failures. And a lot of people are asleep at the wheel. I don't want that to be you. Like, tighten up your marketing, tighten up your messaging, get a handle on your numbers and your pricing. Look at the culture in your company and get ready to buy discounted assets, to buy out your competitors who are asleep at the wheel. But at the same time, trying to focus upstream on who you're targeting and marketing to, because that's why Bernard Arnault is the richest man in the world. They sell to the top 1%, and he's the richest man in the freaking world. That's insane to me. What, you got something?
I would also say too, like we're talking about like making a dog whistle or something that attracts your perfect customer, a luxury brand buyer. But I would also say that even in the middle class, they might be lowering what they spend on. But I would say that a lot of people nowadays a lot of people nowadays, sounds like I'm an old lady, they actually want to buy quality things. So they will spend more because they know it's going to be done right. And some of them are actually even more leery of these desperate deals. That's what I would call desperate deals. And they don't want to buy junk things. They want to buy things that will last because they don't know how long the recession will last. And so they want to buy high quality goods from high quality people. They want to know that you're going to be able to come back and do the service at the same level. You're not just hiring yahoos to come work on your property or this or that. So
Yeah,
they
there's
actually
certain industries that make me more nervous than other ones. Like for example, if you have a maid service, I feel pretty good for you. I think there's going to be a squeeze. You're going to lose some of these people that are on strict budgets. But in general, people don't like not clean their house. Now they could do it themselves, but there's also 10,000 people a day that turn 65, and that number is going up. And so a lot of people just can't do it themselves. That's going to be like a priority. But then when I think about like garage floor coatings or epoxy garage floors, like I'm legitimately nervous for those types of businesses, depending on how rough the economy gets, because that's what's known as a postponable service. It's not an essential service. It's a luxury service, and you don't have to have it. Like your garage works perfectly fine. It's a nice to have, not a have to have. I think cleaning feels different than that is one example.
I mean, if someone comes and tells you that, a bug is eating your roof and you're gonna have to get a new roof, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't spend
That's
however
not a
much.
postponable.
Yeah, that's like, oh my goodness, don't have these things eat my roof. But there was something else I was going to say. Oh man, you were jogging my brain about something, and now I can't remember.
It'll come back to you. It'll come back to you. Well, we have a lot more to talk about. In fact, my friend Kurt Kempton sent me some boxers. So I'm going to have you talk for a second. I'm going to review them, but this has to do with toilet paper. So Daytona 500 was this weekend, right?
Yeah.
And Ashlee's parents are like teenagers again on retirement, running around goofing off in Florida all winter. And they went down by Daytona 500, and the car that won was the Kroger toilet paper car. Is that right?
Cottonelle, the K. Roger. I love Kroger.
So we just thought that was funny because if you remember during the pandemic, anyway, when you remember that, there was toilet paper wars and people cleared out the shelves and all that. Then the toilet paper car wins. And then that got Ashlee and I talking about toilet paper in general, because one of my friends, Kurt Kempton, is passionately against toilet paper. And we always have these funny conversations because if you think about it, in the West, we're primarily the only people, according to Kurt, that use dry toilet paper to go to the bathroom. And it like doesn't make sense. He thinks it's the grossest thing ever. So I asked him to box me a rant, and I'm going to pre-listen to it and make sure it's appropriate. And maybe we'll play it.
Kurt Kempton is always usually appropriate, but I will tell you this. This is the funny thing. There's this, I can't remember where it was, so I might have to phone a friend, Josh, and ask you, but there's this thing during recessions where people have these little luxuries where they have something luxurious that they get, like a lipstick. So people are more, they're going to buy a little purchase, but it's going to be a little luxury. And I think that is about toilet paper. Like what kind of toilet paper you get, like there's definitely luxurious toilet paper. And then there's bottom of the barrel toilet paper, right? And when it starts to get like $20 for a big old huge pack, it's like, why don't I just pay $22 to have it be a soft cushiony pillow? I don't know. I actually spend a little bit more on my toilet paper, but I think Kurt's going to tell us why I should use a bidet instead. Homeboy uses like a travel bidet, everybody. Like he will go on an hour rant about the bidet. And I don't think people just got bidets because they're trying to be fancy. I think people got bidets because they literally couldn't find toilet paper. A fun little thing is that during the pandemic, I actually sent people toilet paper because we never had a toilet paper issue in the rural places of Michigan. And so we, my husband is over there laughing.
We
so
it's
going to be so good. But do you remember when I sent everybody toilet paper and was like, hey, just to share a little love?
What you said. What did you say?
That's okay. I was just talking about how I sent people toilet paper as a gift during the freak out.
Yeah, I remember that. So let's have a debate in the comments on bidets versus toilet paper. Okay, it's such a gross word, bidet, but it makes a lot of sense. So let's hear what Kurt has to say about toilet paper in general. He's the founder of Responsibid, a software company. It's amazing. Go give them all your money. But listen to this.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, I got a question for you. Why are people still using toilet paper? Did we not learn our COVID lesson? I could have sworn that there was a pandemic where everybody learned that toilet paper is like owning them and they're complete servants to this cheap garbage paper. Not to mention that it never was good anyway. I can't figure out why this toilet paper has the power over people it does. I mean, think about it. Yeah, I don't want to be crass. The dirtiest place on your body, is it fair to say there's a dirty time and a dirty place? And the first thing we reach for is something to smear it all around. And then there's people that will try to tell you, no, I'm very thorough. I get it all the time. I get it really clean. Well, I've got two things to say to those people. Number one, either you're not trying that hard and you're not looking, or you are lying. I don't know any other way of putting it. The fact is that if I wipe Nutella on you and you wipe it off, you're going to use water. You're going to wash it off. We're a first world country acting like third world people. I don't understand it. We're better than this. We can stay clean. And, again, just to not be too gross, just remember, though, that when you're wiping off of your arm, you can see what you're wiping. Anyway, Josh, I love you, man. We've got to do something. We've got to do something for hotels, restaurants, nursing homes, hospitals, all over the place. Everybody, when I'm looking for a hotel, do I want to go to a hotel, pay $400 a night and stay at a hotel where they give me the kind that you break through next to the toilets? Like, I'm paying you $400 a night. Not to mention, how great would it be on the hotel's septic system or sewer system if they weren't flushing 700 rolls of toilet paper every day? And yeah, their solution is, well, we can fix that. We can just give them this toilet paper that they take their life into their hands every single time they try and use it. We'll make it so thin that it's literally perilous every time it's used. Anyway, we got to change the world. We got to make the world a better place.
Okay. It's so funny. I actually sent Kurt a message with no context. I'm like, send me back a message on a diatribe about why toilet paper stinks. We're doing this podcast, just do that. And he did. He's like, I have no context, but that's what he said. But he, as funny as he is, he makes really good points. What do you think? Will and Maverick, get involved here. I want to hear, did you hear what Kurt said? And can we hear you on the stream? Let me know. It's not working through the stream? Oh. Maverick, it's not working. I just checked on my phone. I checked on my phone, so no one can hear anything you're saying right now.
But he said it was a fair point from.
He said it was a fair
He
point.
said it was a fair point. It is a fair point, but I don't want to be too gross, but I mean, have you used a bidet? It's
No,
like you
I
can
never
see
have.
Jesus. Like if the water's cold, it's just coming in hot. I don't know.
Wait, if it's cold, it's coming in hot?
Well, it's not coming in hot. I'm just saying, like, whoo, it's just very exhilarating and all of the right and wrong
Yeah, but
places.
I don't think we can logically argue with Kurt. I don't. I think he wins the intellectual argument. I just don't want to do it. Like, I think he's right, and I don't want to be forced to use bidets. But this also goes into another conversation of just luxury goods, because the toilet paper thing, the pricing and the inflation and the luxury stuff, this all actually ties together, because there are bougie toilets. There's luxury, like everything, every category has, probably not every category, most categories have a luxury top shelf thing in them. And I think, like, whatever you're selling with your service business, create a package like that. Like, create sometimes I call it a decoy offer, but you need something more expensive that is for sale, even if no one buys it, because it makes your other stuff look more attractive. And some people will actually buy it, but they can't buy it if it doesn't exist, right? What's with the bougie toilet thing? Because they have $20,000 toilets and stuff you can buy, right?
Oh, you're talking. I know where we're transitioning. We're talking about the bougie toilet we're renting. We are renting a bougie toilet, everybody. So my husband and I actually argued about bathrooms because we didn't argue. It's playful arguing. I don't know, banter. We're hosting an event here at the studio. In the studio, it can host a lot of people, but for 2 days straight, we have one toilet inside of the studio. We have multiple bathrooms throughout our whole entire property, but only one in the studio. So we're like, oh my goodness, this is going to take this toilet's going to take a beating, right?
Mhm.
Like 50 people or 50 to 60 people, 2 days straight, it's going to be coming in hot, right? So we're like, let's rent some toilets. So I called the toilet rental company, and they were like, would you like this porta potty for $135 for the entire weekend? Or would you like the bougie toilet for $1,200? And I was like, babe, maybe we should get a bougie toilet and the extra toilet. I mean, the bougie one has 2 toilets. So I will tell you, it's got 2 toilets, everybody. So 2 toilets for $1,200 or 1 rinky dink. And I was like, let's put like a sign on this one toilet that says, like, for the brave toilet user. And then the other one be the bougie one. But we're going with the bougie one.
Yeah,
So-
because porta potties are disgusting. We're doing this event. It's going to be insanely epic. It's called the War Plan Insiders Celebration Event, which is a group that I run. It's all marketing epicness, and we make lots of money. It's really cool. But we're going to be here. We're not sending people to a porta potty, but every category has a higher ticket thing. Like, this is an actual trailer. It's like a real bathroom, but it's on a trailer. And I want that. And then Tommy Gravel is in the comments. So shout out to you, Tommy. What's up, brother? One of the best drummers I've met in my life. We used to be in a band together a million moons ago. But he said, did you see when Payless Shoes
I did.
created
It was so
like
awesome.
a faux luxury, like they did this whole
Yeah.
thing. You have to go on YouTube and just Google high-end luxury shoes, Payless prank or whatever. And they got a bunch of influencers, and they basically sold their normal $30 Payless shoes for $400. Made this whole social experiment out of it. I thought that was amazing. And then he also called the bidet a tushy spa, and he is on the bidet train. He thinks
He's on the bidet train.
But everything.
I'm not off the bidet train, just so we're very
I've
clear.
never
I'm
used
on
one.
the bidet train. I just am not fully on the bidet train. Although I will say it's better than in Costa Rica. In Costa Rica, there's places that you have to pay for your toilet paper. So they make you pay extra for your toilet paper.
They also throw it in the trash can in Costa Rica and Mexico and most of Central America. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Which is horrifying, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a few more things to keep talking about. Number one, but just to put a bow on our weird toilet paper conversation, sell more expensive stuff, target more affluent people, prepare for the realities of the economic slowdown. Let's be optimists, but be pessimists in the way that we plan. Be optimists in the way that you execute. Get ready to level up, right? Because pressure doesn't create cracks, it exposes them. And when things get weird, I don't want you to get ran over and steamrolled. I want you to crush it and win. But here's our other topics. We're going to talk about $300. Was it $300 strawberries?
Yeah, it's a $300 strawberry.
This was very interesting. I believe the audio works for the videos that Maverick's going to play. So let's cue up the strawberry video, because this is just another example of thinking differently, thinking asymmetrically about your stuff. And you might be in this little town doing your thing, and that's cool. That's cool that you're in your little town, but there's opportunities you can't see because you get numb to it. You're too close to it. And I want to reframe your brain to just think bigger and to think asymmetrically and creatively. Let's play the strawberry clip, Maverick. If you have a strawberry, go ahead.
You do, don't you? You have a set of Ferraris around the back there. I have never drank or eaten any food that's more expensive than that. Would you mind holding that for me a second? Thank you. This is all my money. 2, 3. I understand this guy. His passion for strawberries is incredible. He invented this. He grew this thing for strawberry. 50,000 yen, my friend. Thanks, Del. I'll give it a go.
Holy cow. It was like $370.
I just did the conversion. It's $370.97, 50,000 yen to the dollar for one strawberry, which is nuts, but there's a market for it. The guy's selling these, all over to high-end restaurants, I guess. I don't know.
He actually talks about it later in the clip, and he's like, man, I just keep on dreaming about it. Like, I want to buy another one. Like, there is actually something to be said, because I bet he experienced that strawberry at a whole different level. Like, he was getting $370 where, like, he was activating all of his senses. Like, it was like stimulating his brain too. Like, I think there's something very magical about the experience that happens when you invest in I mean, you show up differently about experiencing the strawberry. It's not just like you just jamming some strawberries, down the gullet.
No, this is a provable behavioral psychology lesson, and it applies to your business now, no matter how small it is that the way your customer consumes what it is that you sell, okay? The way they experience your services, the way they taste the food at your restaurant fundamentally changes. It completely changes the way they consume it, changes based on how valuable they feel that it is. And this is so epic and so interesting. But when people think you're just a commodity person to go do your service and you do it, their brain is shut off in the way that they receive your services. They don't understand the nuance. They don't consume it and pay attention to the minutia of how you do what you do. When you're at a fancy restaurant, they don't taste and savor the food the same way. When you eat a burger at McDonald's and you're in a pinch, you're not focusing on the food the same way if you're spending $500. We went to a nice restaurant this weekend with Adam and Jennifer.
Yeah.
That's what, $500-$600 to eat there. I think they paid for it this time. We paid for it last time, but it's high end. And so when you're eating the filet mignon and you chew it different, you savor it different. Everything about it changes. Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, yeah, because basically I was licking the plate. I'm not that classy of a girl. Sometimes I go to classy places and I have to like rein it in. But yeah, I was like licking the plate of the lobster cargo thing or whatever that was. That was amazing. I'm like, can you just scrape that off, lady, and put it in a box? But we actually have a real life example about this. The kids and I were watching this TikTok just a few months ago about this pink glow pineapple. And this lady paid $80 and they only make pink glow pineapples in Costa Rica. And she was like savoring it and like describing it. And so we went down this whole pink glow pineapple thing. And so my kids were like really obsessed. So I found a pink glow pineapple at Kroger and I didn't tell the kids how much I paid for it. They thought it was $80, but I had actually got it on sale for $2.99. And so I cut up 2 pink glow. So my kids are thinking I paid like $160 for these, and they devoured these pink glow and they were like, "Oh, that's the best pineapple I've ever had." And like they were freaking out about it. And then the next week I had pink glow pineapples again.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Mom, what? How dare?" But this time I said, "Yeah, they were on sale for $2.99. Y'all, I had to throw that pink glow pineapple out because I cut it all up and nobody consumed it the same way.
Of it changed.
They thought it was $160 worth of pineapple that I served them. And so they were like basically fighting over it. But then when they found out it was $2.99, it just was like, never mind. It wasn't that great.
That's a perfect, exact one-to-one story that matches what we're talking about. The way we consume products changes based on what we perceive it to be. Really, I should do like a 20-minute thing about framing, because with the service company, there's nonverbal signals that happen from the moment they see your truck to the moment they're on your website to the way that they listen to you on the phone when they call you. There's so many things happening that set what's called a frame. And when the frame is set, okay, that's what dictates how much they think you're going to cost. It's what dictates how they're going to consume what it is that you're selling. It's insanely powerful because the frame is the whole deal. Not just in life with our identity, like framing, there's deframing and reframing and pre-framing. And with your service company or with your pineapple example, you pre-framed them that it was this, so they consumed it a particular way.
Yeah.
And then you reframed it as only being worth $3 and they consumed it a different way. And there's nothing weird about that. That's how humans are. If you think that you're not like this right now, you're delusional because you're a human. Everybody operates based on these subconscious triggers and it's just the way humans are built. So the way that you market your stuff, the way that you talk on the phone, the way you create separation and contrast between your company and the people you're competing with, all of that starts to set a frame. For example, if I call 3 companies to get a quote for something, and you're the third one I call, okay? So I have kind of normal experiences with the first 2. Maybe one of them doesn't answer, calls me back, gets my information, says they're going to get me a quote. The second one, they answer, but it's more of a call center vibe. It's just kind of corporate. It's just sterile. They're friendly, and then they call you, you answer in one ring, and your receptionist is standing up and is high energy and it has a really clever script, and everything is better. The emphasis, the pacing, the tonality, the enthusiasm, everything's better. That's the first opportunity to set a different frame than the other two.
Mm-hmm.
And then how long does it take for you to go get them the pricing that they want? And then what scripts were said to the customer to pre-frame them that you're going to be premium? Because they shouldn't find out that you're premium just by getting your price. They should be anticipating a high price based on the frame that you're creating for them through your process and your scripting and the enthusiasm. They should almost be nervous of how expensive you'll be. And so that when they do get your price, they're pleasantly surprised you're only $200 more than the other two quotes, right? Like that's what frame control means in the context of a service business, is the way that you set that frame. Because when it's done correctly and you're talking to the right person, people will feel uncomfortable hiring the cheaper company. They'll feel nervous to hire the cheaper company. The really sad part is that the first two companies in my example that don't get the job, because you're going to get the job because of your customer life cycle and the framing and the scripting and the nonverbal signals and the nuance was so dialed in. And this isn't complicated, but you've put thought into it. The first two companies lose the job. And then what do? What's the reaction? They did 10 quotes. They've lost a bunch of them. What do? They lower their price even more. And it becomes this race to the bottom. I don't want you to get sucked into that, which is why all the examples we shared on the show, if you didn't watch earlier, we talked about how Bernard Arnault is the richest man in the world now. He owns this portfolio of high-end brands like Louis Vuitton and Tiffany's and Christian Dior and a whole bunch, Hennessy, which is, I guess, fancy liquor or something. And so marketing to the affluent is important going into a recession. We talked about high-end toilets and all this stuff to try to serve you, right? Because there's little things you can do to separate yourself. The thickness of the literature that you use, the tone and vibe and color scheme of your website. Like there's things that can be done, the uniforms, the process, the way you walk around, the way you build trust. It's a whole rabbit hole. I wish I could plug my brain into your brain, because you'll make so much more money with your brain than you ever will with your back. That's it. My rant's over. What are you thinking as I say all that, Ash?
You literally just said, I wish I could do a teaching on this, but you did. You did recession marketing for free. And then, I mean, now you're repackaging it and you have a whole app and stuff. So you do teach this stuff quite a bit and have taught quite a few people these things. So there's some more frameworks and stuff coming, just so you know, that is going to be accessible to all of you out there. So your Atomic Marketing Playbook is some of the best things that you've ever created. So the last few programs that you have put out, Recession Marketing, War Plan Insiders, I mean, like, I've always thought you were brilliant and wanted to lick your sexy brain, but like lately you've been just producing just life-changing things for people. And it's been changing people's lives. And so it's just really cool to watch. It's like you're coming into your prime, babe. Like you haven't even started yet.
It's all practice. It's all practice leading up to this moment. We have, I'm trying to think. We have, hold on, Will texted me. Tactical, War Plan Tactical is tonight at 6 p.m. Oh, yes, that's a good idea. So I have a YouTube channel now. We have dozens of subscribers. You should totally check it out. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do these trainings. They're just free videos. Just find my YouTube and subscribe to it. But tonight is my second tactical video. So the videos I've been putting out there to get started with YouTube are really fast paced, like boom, 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 boom. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going a little slower and actually teaching, like using my iPad and going through something that can help you, because I'm genuinely concerned about the economy, about small business owners. And that's our heart. Like everything we have is because I bought a squeegee 20 years ago. Everything started with that being the origin story. And yes, we built software companies and done all kinds of weird stuff. But it goes back to that. And I'm genuinely nervous for people that have been kind of riding the gravy train where things are sort of working. They don't know how to market. They're not selling at high enough prices, and their businesses are fragile. I don't know if you know this to the person watching this, but according to the SBA, out of the 32 million small business owners in the United States, 26 million of them, which is 81%, are less than 2 weeks away from overdrafting their business checking account. And that's scary. You know, most of these are owner-operator people or really small companies. The SBA, by the way, defines a small business as any company with less than 500 employees. So even if you have 300 employees, you're like a speck of a speck. Look, I don't know what you want, but you got to level up your marketing game. Not because marketing means passing out flyers. Marketing is a way of thinking. I had these t-shirts made that say everything is marketing. Or sometimes I say marketing is everything, because parenting is marketing. Dating is marketing. The way you recruit, retain, train, and develop and your staff is marketing. It's about communication. It's about up-leveling your mind, right? And the home service industry has up-leveled tons the last 10 years, tons. There's so many 20-something-year-olds that are doing 2-3 million. Wesley Bloom, I talked to him on Boxer a couple of days ago. He's going to do maybe 4 million this year. He's like 28 years old. And he was listening to my podcast in college when his business was a little side hustle. So there's opportunity everywhere, but you gotta invest in your mind, your knowledge, your brain. And I'm nervous for a lot of people. Hopefully not the people that would watch a weird show like this, but genuinely, I'm concerned.
I think the service industry too is like one of those, AI is coming to steal everybody's jobs, right? And I think it's going to go into the service industry probably last because robots and stuff will be needed for that kind of work. But like the service industry, people are like, oh, it's done. I don't think it's done. It's just getting
not at all.
started.
It's a gold rush.
It's a gold rush.
It's a
like
gold rush.
But I think the more important thing is if the service industry, the people that are there now, if they don't get with their marketing and their sales and they don't fine tune it and pivot and like really people are going to be coming into this industry like hotcakes because the recession is going to get people out of work and they're going to start going into the service industry. So, and private equity money is going into the service industry. So this is a time that if you already have the head start, if you have a service company, but now you need to fine tune it so that you are the category king in your area or different things. So you have to fine tune it now and get ahead of it because people are coming. Private equity money's coming. Other people who are losing jobs and going different places are coming. So fine tune your stuff.
What's happening macro with home services is consolidation. There's been actually Google, Amazon, and Facebook all attempted to create service marketplaces. I don't think any of them really worked really well, but the service industry is big. So when I say that, it's like not just home services, but financial services in general are growing. Because of the baby boomers getting older, it's growing even more. And then I think the younger generation or my generation, I'm technically Gen X and millennial. I'm right on the line there. But my generation doesn't want to maintain their own stuff. They don't kind of change their own oil at large, right? They don't know how to fix stuff. So services is huge. But what's happening with private equity is they're gobbling up. It's called a rolling up. They're buying successful companies, consolidating them, and then exiting them and making hundreds of millions of dollars doing this. This can happen to you. So if you grew up broke and you have your little business, you got to understand something. You literally have the earning potential of a professional athlete, literally for real. Okay. And you might only make $100,000 a year in personal income right now. And you have a $300,000 business, $500,000 business. You could be 3 to 5 moves away from doing a couple million, making 300,000-400,000 and selling it for 7 figures and changing your life. Like, this is insane. You might have dropped out of high school and you're going to make more money than a lot of doctors make. And you can do it quick. I promise you can. But the core competency you have to focus on first is marketing. You need systems, you need all these things, but you need to be able to generate a lead and sell it at an ultra premium price. And figuring out how to do that, you can get there really, really, really fast. And if you do, you can sell. You don't have to sell. You can just keep growing. But there's money flooding in from all over the place, all over the country, in all these different services right now. It's actually really exciting.
Do you think that the reason is because a lot of people push college for so long and they didn't push the trades? And now there's, plumbing is like one of those things. We already talked about this before. Is people don't stop pooping, especially with the bidets. We talk about our bidet talk, but like, people didn't push the trades in our generation. They pushed that. And so there's this weird disconnect.
Oh yeah. Like things are shifting, man. Like university used to be the doorway or the gatekeeper to education. Education is now decentralized. You're being educated right now. You can go on YouTube and be educated. There's courses, workshops, events, there's certifications, there's consultants, you can learn anything really, really fast for like a fraction of what it costs to spend $150,000 to go to some college with a bunch of woke professors who haven't ran a business in 20 years and are teaching you business. Like, running a business is how you learn business, not by reading textbooks about a business. So I think that's happening. I also think that college was put on this pedestal of like, it's a status pedestal. Like that girl in that video earlier, like she was like, I have a degree and she was the dumbest one of the group. First of all, if you have a degree, like, great job. Not easy to do it. You have to do homework and memorize things for years on end. It takes a lot of commitment. It shows discipline. I honor that 100%. However, when it comes to making money, there's not exactly a one-to-one correlation like there used to be. And people that disagree with me are going to cite all the statistics. Well, people with a college degree make this much average more. True, but it's not because of the degree. It's because of the person, because of the grit, because of the mindset. And because of decentralized education, all of us can make more money than you could ever imagine. And I think this is why a lot of college professors, especially in business, in the business field, hate real entrepreneurs. They hate them. They think they're supposed to be paid on the head knowledge they have rather than the results that they produce. I have friends that are plumbers that make $1 million a year in personal income. The personal income, $100K a month, $83,333 a month or more in net for themselves. They're a plumber. They play with pipes and solder and poop all day, right? But they built companies. They know how to sell. My best friend, Cy, is a plumber, and he works when he wants to work. He lives up north in a little cabin, and he plays music all the time. When he wants to go work, he'll make $5,000 a day by himself, goofing off, doing all this stuff. But he knows how to sell. He's good at what he does. And because college was on this status pedestal, not enough young people went into trades. And now the average age of plumbers, I don't know what it is, but it's like 55 years old. And so what they're doing is they're actually lowering the standard in a lot of states on how, to get your certification as a journeyman plumber, a master plumber. It's different state to state. And what's going to end up happening is when the economy slows down, more people will go into these fields because you can make bank, which will drive prices down a little bit. But there's opportunity right now for everybody.
Dang. I think we're going to have a poop problem, though. Everybody better start using those bidets because I want people to have really high standards for their plumbing degrees, just so you know. I don't want to lower standards. That's like, I don't want to lower standards in, like, I think Southwest just lowered their standards for pilots. It's like, ooh, when we start lowering standards for things, it gets a little nerve-wracking, but
yeah. And even during downturns, even during the Great Depression, which was like the worst time ever, not the Great Recession, but back, 100, almost 100 years ago, the Great Depression, there were still tons of millionaires per capita made. There's opportunities, right? People get scrappy. So open your eyes, get around people that think big, be paranoid in a positive way about the holes in your business, plug the holes in your bucket, get around smart people, right? Start daydreaming with other ambitious people and just get ready to pivot. Try to switch your messaging to target affluent people, get a little more tight on your messaging, create some higher ticket offers, experiment and develop the skill of selling and understanding the pre-frame of how you do all the stuff we talked about. It will go well for you. We only have about 3 minutes left. Okay. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to say before we end. What do you think?
I just wanted to say, I think you made a key point that I just want to highlight is that you said, surround yourself with people. I don't know exactly how you said it, but I think that's true. You can either have two camps. You can have a camp that's like, oh, did you see the news? The recession? Are you worried? And they can really pull you down. But then there's people like, I remember when COVID happened and you were talking to Tommy Mello and he's like, this is the greatest time ever. Like he was so excited. He's like, I can't buy enough things. And so you need to hang out with more people like Tommy Mello who are like optimistic and ready to crush it. And like, teaching you, like my husband, teaching you about how to market in these ways and pivoting, and like they're really excited about it. I think the transfer of that is very powerful. So who you surround yourself with is a key point in these times.
Totally. And I have a surprise for you at the very end. Then you can close this in prayer. Maverick, do you have the graphic that I sent Will with the gas tank thing?
No, what?
Do you have that? Okay, check this out. There are two types of people in this world. Okay. And
I know where
here's
this
what
is
happened
going.
this morning. I woke up this morning and I got an email. I got an email from my wife's car. She has a Chrysler Pacifica van. It's a minivan. We're rolling hardcore with our 5 kids. Anyway, the email said your van has less than 1/8 of a tank of gas. And I'm laying in bed still, which
It's
is
a
bad to check your
hybrid.
phone when you're in bed, but that's what I did today. And so I called Ashlee. I'm like, Ashlee, good God, why does it have to be like that? But you're that person. You walk the razor's edge. First of all, in the comments, are you fill yourself up when you get to half tank because you're paranoid, or do you let it ride and walk the razor's edge? I fill it up. My battery on my phone is always charged. Ashlee's, it's a thing. Why is it that way? And what's your defense?
Well, my defense is I didn't run out. I am a free spirit. I like fun. I feel like it gives me some excitement in my life. I also drive a hybrid. So I was reading how much it said. I had like so many miles for battery and so many miles for gas. Like I wasn't riding the edge that sharp. I mean, I was 1/8 of a tank.
Less than.
And in Dallas, there's like gas stations at every corner. I was trying to wait for the K Roger to support the Daytona 500. I like to go to K Roger to get my gas. And
We
so I
never
was just,
played the Daytona 500 clip.
wait, is there a clip?
I thought there was a clip that they had queued up. but we
No, they
forgot
just
about that.
showed a picture. But I mean, I don't think this is a character flaw. I think it's a
It's not a
character bonus.
flaw. I'm just saying there's two types of people. So I'm curious in the comments,
Or-
which one are you? Do you play it safe or do you fill up?
Okay, let's just also say this. Maybe I wanted you to call me. Maybe I like did it down there
Is that really what happened?
so you'd give me some banter. I don't know. I just feel like people who just let it go down a second, you're actually wasting time. Drain that sucker, then fill up. Like, how many times do you have to go to the gas station to fill up your gas tank? More times than I do. I just drain that sucker. And it's like, I think it's good for too, like, you got to get all that bad gas out of there. You're just hanging out with your bad
So
gas
you're
in
doing
your
it
tank.
as a strategy.
It's
not
strategy,
because
total
you're-
strategy.
Got it.
Not
I have a
ADHD.
confession.
What?
My gas light came out of my truck today.
What?
It like never happens, but it happened today. And Maverick was with me. He can attest if his mic worked, but we had to stop and get gas on the way here. Yeah.
I love this so much.
Why don't you close us out in prayer?
This
babe?
is so amazing. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, well, I'm going to close this out in prayer, but yes, that's so happy. I'm going to use that. That is going to be fuel in my tank, everybody. Maybe you're just using the Ashlee Latimer strategy. Okay, well, I'm going to close this out in prayer. And as you know, there's revivals breaking out everywhere. And I heard there's like weird hot topics about this. The only hot topic should be, is there revival happening in your home? That's where revival should be happening, in your heart and in your home. So instead of making a comment about a revival, let's just fan the flame in the revivals in our home, in our hearts, in our businesses, in our marriage, in our kids. Like, that's where revival starts. Revival starts with us. So, dear Jesus, thank you so much for dying on the cross, Lord. We love you and worship you and honor you and praise you. God, we just need more of you and less of us. Fan the flame. Jesus, when we look at the world, we see the brokenness, and we just pray for healing in our homes, healing in our marriage, healing in our business, healing in our towns and our communities, God. We just pray that you just move, Lord, that this revival would not stop, that it would circumference the whole world, Lord. Thank you for doing what you did, and forgive us of our sins, God. Forgive us for when we have not let your light shine bright in our lives and in our businesses and our marriages and in our kids, Lord. Jesus, we just pray for healing, for hope, and for you to shine bright. Help it to shine bright in our own lives. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen, amen, amen. Thanks for hanging out with us, y'all. Have a great day. We'll see you next week. Bye.